I've thought about taking my hijab off, but I'm scared of what the community would say. All right, so when I took my hijab off, I can talk about this.
You can't say you're an influencer and your whole audience is based off them following you. And you take your scarf off, but it's like, hey, I never told you to follow me in this. Don't take religious advice from me. But you are an influencer.
What? What does wearing hijab have to do with finding a husband?
Yeah. I remember when I had put it on, I think I had a friend at the time say to me that, okay, well, you can't really expect anyone good looking to propose to you.
I choose to wear the hijab because it's an act of resistance to showing off your hair and skin. I think it's very important to find our real and true purpose internally and realign our intentions first and foremost as to why it is that we are doing whatever it is that we're doing, including wearing hijab. Yes, resisting and showing resistance to the status quo is critical. But the moment you align your intentions for why it is that you wear hijab, in that I am wearing the hijab solely and sincerely for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, everything else becomes easy. You don't have to be in a constant state of, explaining yourself and battle with absolutely everyone that you interact with. It becomes very soothing and comforting because ultimately you are doing it to please Allah Azza wa Jal. So to someone who is choosing to wear the hijab as a form of resistance, which is fantastic, take it a notch back and a step back by first ensuring that your intention is aligned first and foremost with Allah Azza wa Jal, and then you'll see everything else trickle on, inshallah.
I started wearing the hijab when I was 8 years old, but I never knew the proper meaning until much later. I wish someone was there to educate me on it. I hear that a lot with lots of people that take the scarf off, like I never wore it for the right reasons to begin with, or I didn't know what I was doing when I put it on. And like, that's okay. Like if anything, it's a rahmah that you were transitioned into putting the scarf on at such an early age. It doesn't mean like you have to take it off to start learning the meaning of it. Like from now, you can just open up a book or speak to someone about the benefits of it and why we wear it and who we wear it for. And Allah's the one that puts that love for the hijab in your heart or makes it that bit easier for you.
My best friend and I started wearing hijab together. The first time we walked into class wearing it, a classmate said, "It won't be long before you both stop wearing hijab." Ooh.
That's a bit rude.
Yeah, that's a bit rude. Personally, if that was me, I would just be like, I wouldn't really care that much because a lot of people have a lot of things to say. But yeah, what do you think?
I think for me, social media has a lot of impact on this type of thing, like seeing all these Westerners wear clothes that we wish that we could wear and getting compliments from like strangers online. It's like, wow, that girl is so pretty. I wish I could be like her. But knowing that we can't get that compliments from people around us because we're covered and everything, it's a little bit hard for us to understand, and it's a lot harder for teenagers to understand because we're still growing and we want that validation. We want that we want the attention from everyone around us. But I feel like the most important thing is, like I said before, we get rewards for wearing hijab and we get rewarded for being modest and everything.
If I have daughters one day, I hope they choose hijab for themselves. But if they don't, I don't know what I would do. I mean, I'm a mother. I have 2 daughters. And I also hope that, they do choose to wear a headscarf themselves one day, and I hope that it comes from within them. I think one of the reasons why I put the hijab back on is because, I was thinking about my daughters. And I was thinking, like, I want to contribute to preserving that tradition that is so beautiful, a beautiful part of our religion. I think the best way for mothers to introduce the concept of modesty and love for Islam and love for what the mother herself is doing is to love your children first, to connect with your children. And when you have toddlers that are irrational, it's quite difficult to do that and to maintain that. But inshallah, as they grow and as our relationship develops with our daughters, we'll come to a point where, you know, they will love us and they will love what we do and they will love the choices that we've made for our lifestyle, inshallah. There's this saying, I don't know where it comes from, but it's children can only be what they can see. You want to behave in a way that you want your children to behave, essentially. One really cute thing that my 1.5-year-old has started doing recently is she'll just like go up to any of my, you know, random scarves that I've left around the house and she'll just put it on her own head and she'll start praying. Like she'll just like stand in any direction and she'll like mutter under her breath. She'll be like, and then she'll just like go into sajda. And it's just really cute.
I've thought about taking my hijab off, but I'm scared of what the community would say. I actually took my hijab off when I was in year 11 after wearing it for almost 2 years. If you were to ask me then, why did you take it off? I would say because I didn't feel comfortable in it. But looking back now, a couple years later, I can say that the reason I took it off was because I didn't want the hijab to make me feel guilty when I was saying what I was saying or doing what I was doing or going to the places that I was going to. So I wanted to take the hijab off to free me from that guilt. But the more fun I had, the more empty I got. So if you're chasing the pleasure or worried about what the community will say, no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone saying something about you. But at the end of the day, that should be the least of your worries. Think about what would Allah say.
I was at my lowest when I decided to take this step. Deep in my sins and feeling utterly lost, I chose to give up my casual lifestyle and began wearing the hijab and niqab. I'm so proud of you. I remember when I put my hijab on, I was afraid of losing a lot of things, like losing friends, losing the respect from my family members. But alhamdulillah, I was able to understand the value of, like, whoever wants to respect you or whoever wants to honor you, they will make that choice. You don't want to have friends that you can't truly be yourself around. Or you don't want to have sisters in Islam where you don't really resonate with them, like when it comes to being on the path of becoming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I see young Muslim girls take off their hijab at school and wear it when school has ended. When you have the hijab on, suddenly you're representing Islam, and everyone tends to have an opinion on what you can or what you can't do. As a young girl who's going to school, you're definitely going to be feeling the impact of it, because in a Western society, your worth is almost retrieved through your looks. I can see why young girls who are impacted by this sort of mindset may remove their hijab, but to this person, I would say that you need to realize that your worth is far greater than the way that you look. And me, myself, I feel this sometimes too. It's a challenge every day waking up to go out and to interact with people who see you first face and they judge you immediately. And it's hard to find hope in a world where everything around you is, I guess, dependent on how you look. But that just wearing the hijab allows you to filter through all of that shallowness and get to what really matters.
I've thought about taking my hijab off, but I'm scared of what the community would say. All right, so when I took my hijab off, I can talk about this. When I took my hijab off, it took me literally like an entire year, I think, to actually take it off. It took me a year of conversations and rationalizations and speaking to everyone from, you know, my best friend to, you know, like my sister, to my parents, to like literally everyone that you can think of. I was speaking to them about it, like like anyone and everyone. And I reflecting on that now, I'm like, wow, I think I was just trying to justify it within myself. Like, I think I probably knew that I shouldn't take it off, but I was just trying to get validation from everyone and anyone around me. I will say that while I was speaking to all of my friends about it, the vast majority of the people around me were saying things like, you do you know? But there was one friend who, when I spoke to her about it, she was like, you know what, I love you so much, and I need you to know that this is a fard. and if you take it off, that is the wrong decision. And that was the friend that, like, my respect and my love for her just like went up so much in that conversation, because even though I was the one that, you know, was looking for a reason and an out, you know, to take it off, she was a friend that was like, you know, I'm gonna, like, I've got your back, and I want you to maintain a close connection with Allah. She's witnessed other friends take the headscarf off, and then it leads to a spiral of slowly moving away from centering Islam and centering Allah in your life. And she didn't want that for me, and I love her for that.
I was criticized for wearing a hijab at the mixed wedding because it supposedly made me look too old, and I wouldn't get marriage proposals. Okay. I was told something similar when I remember I was in Pakistan and me and my cousins were going out for dinner, and I told one of them, I was like, oh, I actually really want to, like, you know, consider putting the hijab on seriously. I still put it on, and alhamdulillah, I can relate to the fear. I remember when I had put it on, I think in the first week or so, maybe before I had put it on, I had a friend at the time say to me that, okay, well, you can't really expect anyone good looking to propose to you. And I was just like, okay, that's interesting. It's not going to change my decision. So I did, alhamdulillah. And I'm now at the stage where I'm able to understand that if you're looking for a partner, then you want to look for someone that's going to respect the fact that you're wearing the hijab. And I've put the hijab on because to me it's an act of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's not going to let who was chosen for me miss me. Like, he'll still bring us together. And you'll have the confidence that you did this because it was the right thing to do. And you'll know that you have Allah by your side, and that's the most important thing.
If you could give advice to a Muslim woman who is struggling with the hijab, what would you say? It's okay to struggle, and sometimes it's kind of beautiful because you're struggling with something that your nafs doesn't want you to do, but the only reason you are continuing with it is because Allah told you to do it. No one's journey is perfect. Maybe that's your test. So take it on the chin and ask Allah to make it easy for you. Surround yourself with people who love the hijab. Cleanse your feed of people who don't wear it properly or don't like it or are taking it off. Especially on your social media. I feel like that's like people's tadbiyah nowadays. Like, that is what impacts you the most and you have no idea about it. Like, they're literally called influencers. So if the influencer you follow takes her scarf off, naturally you're going to be influenced by that and you're going to want to follow those steps, or at least it doesn't make it such a foreign concept in your heart anymore. I was speaking to my friend who is an influencer and took the scarf off. And then, subhanAllah, we actually had a discussion, and there is always a core reason as to why they take it off. And it's always a bigger reason than the hijab. But you can't say you're an influencer and your whole audience is based off them following you. Your whole page is based off them following your recommendations, and you recommend a place to eat, they go and eat. You recommend them to buy a certain bag, they go and buy that bag. And you take your scarf off, but it's like, hey, I never told you to follow me in this. Don't take religious advice from me. But you are an influencer and you're on social media because of that. So there is a responsibility that is attached to them, and you can't say, I have no responsibility, because that's on your neck. And like, if you take your scarf off, just don't post it. If you take the scarf off, why do I have to see your deep angles at the gym doing a squat? Or why do I have to see the insides of your nostrils as you're giving me a lip combo? As the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, all of my ummah will be forgiven. Like, look at the mercy, like all of the ummah, all of their sins will be forgiven. How beautiful is that? Except for the one that publicizes their sin. Don't take your deen from people online. Yes, be inspired, but also have the cognitive ability to take the good and leave the bad.
Sometimes it's a struggle when I have to decline shaking a man's hand. It can feel like I'm rejecting them, but I believe it ultimately earns me more respect. It feels very conflicting. It is very difficult. It's not easy to tell someone who you even may not see again that I don't want to shake your hands. But I've learned through my experience in life that honesty is always the easiest way. And at times, people genuinely don't know. For those who insist that actually, but what about the other hijabi who did shake my hands? The response could be, we're all on a different spiritual journey, but I'm more comfortable not having to shake hands. You don't need to explain yourself. Be you, be confident, and hold your head up high as a uncompromising Muslimah. I have been placed in a very similar situation. I put my hand up and said, I don't shake hands. The person in front of me insisted that they shake hands, and I had to repeat myself that I do not shake hands. And then I had to explain why. He wasn't happy, but that's not my problem. We live in an era where it's my body, my choice, and I expect that my wishes also be respected as a visibly Muslim hijabi.
Ultimately, what pushed me to, or inspired me to want to wear a headscarf again, it was a lot of different things. I was going on Umrah. So me and my husband, we planned to go on Umrah. And this is when we just had our first daughter. And I was, excited about it. I was a bit nervous about it. And I was having these conversations within myself of like, okay, I'm gonna go on Umrah. This is a good opportunity to put the headscarf on again, if you want to, if I want to. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do it. Like, I think I'm gonna, I felt like it would be weird to go on Umrah and have this amazing, spiritual experience and then to just go back without wearing a headscarf. So I was kind of like scaffolding myself toward that. Before we left America to go on, to make our way toward Umrah, my sister-in-law organized a family photo shoot. And I was like, not wearing a headscarf at this point. And I messaged the family group. I'm like, guys, I'm going to wear a headscarf for this family photo shoot, but I don't want you to think it means that I'm wearing a headscarf full time. I'm just putting it on for the photo shoot so that when I do start wearing a headscarf in the future, these photos won't go to waste, essentially. So I was doing my whole prepping, rationalization, conversations type of thing again. After that photo shoot, I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'm planning on wearing the hijab in 2 weeks from now. Why am I not just wearing it? So I just started wearing it from that day.
If I could talk to my younger self about the hijab, I would say it's the most gangster thing in the world. Confidence with the hijab doesn't come with the style or the color, or it just comes from your connection with Allah. If you want to love hijab, you need to love Allah more, because at the end of the day, you're doing this for Him. If someone was to ask you, what's the reason for hijab? Yeah, there's modesty, yeah, there's protection, yeah, there's 1, 2, and 3, but at the end of the day, put them all aside. I'm putting the hijab on because Allah tells me to. And something that also helps is if you just study the people of the past and what they did for Islam and how hard they struggled in all aspects of their life, and you look at yourself I was thinking about taking my hijab off because that boy at school didn't notice me, you're gonna be like, I think I'll keep it on because my struggle's pretty nothing compared to theirs. So loving who you're doing it for, knowing that you're doing it for Allah, and the confidence comes from within, it doesn't come from outside.